Greetings, salutations, and welcome to SportsLook, the sports television program for the high plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and because the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament started in earnest today, we're going to focus on two NCAA Division II tournament team leaders, Davin Vo and Blake Huber. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Greyhound softball on Friday, they beat St. Mary's in one game, and then on Saturday they beat St. Edwards in two games, so they're on a three-game winning streak. For Greyhound baseball, they were playing the number 17 team of the nation, the University of Texas Tyler. They lost the first two games, but then they won the third game, and then they won the fourth game, so they're on a two-game win streak. And congratulations to Himon Joseph from the Greyhound track and field squad. He finished 14th in the nation in the long jump. That makes him a second-team All-American. Well, that is going to wrap up our Eastern recap, so we'll clear this out, and we'll bring in Blake Huber from Greyhound women's basketball right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and we welcome back to the set the head coach of Greyhound women's basketball, Blake Huber. And Coach, congratulations on another great year.
Yeah, for sure. It was you get a taste of success last year with the national tournament and win a game, and it's hard to win. So the fact that we were able to double down and make the national tournament again. Doc, you've been here obviously a lot longer than me. I think someone told me this is the first time in the history of our program, at least in D2, that we've made back-to-back national tournament appearances. So our program's heading in a really strong direction. Everyone in our region is good. So we've got to find a way to enjoy this and enjoy the season and the national tournament appearance, but we have to continue to try to grow on it, which starts in recruiting. Trying to get a lot of our good players back for this season coming up, and then, junior college, transfer portal, high school, international, trying to find the gaps that we feel like we need to get stronger in as a program. But we're excited the fact that we've, done what we've done the last two seasons here, and, we don't take it for granted because it's hard to win, and you never know when your next national tournament appearance is going to be. So, we're very fortunate that, we've made it the last 2 years, and now we want to, try to go for a three-peat, so to speak, with our group next year.
I would say probably off the top of my head that rock bottom this year was probably a game in Edmond, Oklahoma against Oklahoma Christian. And
sure.
Your chances of going to the Lone Star Conference, let alone the NCAA tournament, didn't look very good, but lo and behold, you won your last 7 regular season games. How were you able to turn it around?
Yeah, I think we had a team meeting in the hotel in Lawton, Oklahoma the next day, and we just kind of gathered them together. And, guys, what are we here for? Because I think we'd lost our joy in basketball, coaching, playing. There was just a lot of stress, and there was a lot of just – I think the players were kind of mad and frustrated with probably our coaching staff, myself, and I think vice versa. So we kind of just got back to the drawing board, and it's a lot less X's and O's and a lot more why are we here? Why do we play the game of basketball and get the fun of the game back? I think we tried to treat it as, hey, go back to your AAU days, go back to where you're having fun. Don't look at the scoreboard. Scouts are important, but just really, if we can't have fun in what we're doing, we're never going to accomplish where we want to go. So, it kind of started with that meeting, and, we beat Cameron, and then, 2-3 days later, we go into Canyon and beat WT. And, from there, it's kind of like, okay, we're kind of back on good footing. And, Doc, we ended the year last year on a 7-game winning streak. So, we had some returners that have been there and done it, and I think they kind of helped lead the charge. And, Doc, when we lost Oklahoma Christian, we were on a 5-game losing streak. Those first 4 games were against, some top 25 teams, but, there's no doubt that was kind of rock bottom for us. And credit to our players, they kind of got the love of the game back. And Doc, we all talk as college coaches. The dog days of the season are kind of late January, early February. So I think they were kind of in the dog days, and we just kind of did our best to kind of rejuvenize them. And kudos to them for kind of turning the page and, going on a 7-game winning streak and then beating Lubbock Christian in the conference tournament and, kind of solidified our fate to make the national tournament again. So, just a testament to our players' toughness.
Of course, you can have the best message in the world, but if it falls on deaf ears, if it falls on unfertile soil, it doesn't do any good. Who was really the player that really got what you were saying and translated it to her fellow teammates?
I think, honestly, Tot, who obviously is not playing, she tore her Achilles. And, Doc, there's a lot of things that happen through the course of a season. But you were there. I mean, we were 8-0, 9-0 in league when Tot blew her Achilles at Lubbock Christian. And that kind of changed everything. She was our glue. She was our leader. Sometimes she isn't the most flashy player or doesn't lead us in some statistical categories, but she's been there and done it, and everyone in the locker room respects her. So she was kind of the one. And Doc, what's interesting is after her surgery for about 2 or 3 weeks, she couldn't travel with us because just the Achilles and, making sure she's not really moving it. So you see, we kind of started turning the corner again when she started traveling again. Now, she wasn't playing, but just her presence alone, I think, means a lot to our program. And then I think you have, Treese Brooks, Taya Lockett, that kind of are returners that understood, hey, guys, if we want to make the national tournament again, we need to go on a long winning streak like we did, the previous season. So kind of started with Tot, and then I think kind of Taya and Treese kind of followed suit.
Of course, you had to win back-to-back home games, the last regular season games, and it was great. A week before, you had been playing in Laredo, Texas, where the announced attendance was 58, and there were 1,000 more people at Seavoy Family Foundation Arena, so people definitely showed up to support you.
For sure. I think, we talk a lot that the community of Portales is really supportive, win, lose, or draw, but it's easier to support when you win, So, what Coach Mo did with his group this year, and, we weren't quite on that level, but, still on a national tournament level. When you have 2 really successful programs and you're playing a girl-guy doubleheader, it's easier for the Portales community to come in and support when you're winning. So, it's interesting, Doc. We talked a lot about we played a very exciting brand of basketball, especially early in the year. I mean, we were pressing for 40 minutes, and we were really, in people defensively. We had to change course. Start of the year, we're running pistol offensively and pressing for 40 minutes defensively. By the end of the year, we're playing more half-court man and playing high-low. So the brand wasn't quite as exciting as it was to start the year. We're hoping to get back to a lot of depth next year in athleticism so we can get back to pressing. We talked a lot about after our season last year, Doc, that it's hard to beat Lubbock Christian and women's and Tyler playing a grinded-out half-court basketball game. Now, we finally got over Lubbock Christian's hump doing that, but we have to play that style if we're going to try to win this region and beat women's, and Tyler. Because if you let them walk the ball up the floor and get into all their actions, they're really high level. So hopefully we can get the depth on our roster we had going into this year and stay a little bit healthier. And hopefully we get back to that brand of basketball next year.
Yeah, walk us through that game against Lubbock Christian in the first round of the LSC tournament.
For sure. Our kids were jittery. I think I called a timeout within the first 3 or 4 minutes because we were down 9-2. We just weren't executing very well. They kind of got on us early, especially in the first quarter, and then we just kind of settled into the game. And it was kind of back and forth most of the way. I think Chloe obviously had a huge game for us. Aaliyah was massive. She made a lot of big-time plays. And then you kind of had your senior leader in Treese kind of, take the nail in the coffin for him. So it was really good for our team, especially our kids that have been with us, Hooley, Treese, Taya. For 2.5 years, we've never beat Lubbock Christian. I mean, it's kind of been our kryptonite. So The fact that we finally got over that hurdle of beating, Lubbock Christian was monumental, not only, for our team this year, but it gives us faith in the future that, hey, like, we have beat Lubbock Christian. We can do it. And then, Doc, the next night we played women's, and it was a 4-point game midway through the third, and Chloe dropped, and that, we didn't have anyone to guard Gabby Elliott from there. But, we showed that, we can play with the best teams in the country night in and night out, which I don't think a lot of teams can say when, Doc, we legitimately, you can argue, lost 3 starters from season-ending injuries. So, I think it proves to our players that we can accomplish a lot. And I think it gives our players a lot of faith going into next year that, we can continue climbing, on the national stage.
I was really impressed because you had been the late game on Friday night,
Yeah.
and then you had to play the first game on Saturday, and your girls probably got to bed about 1 o'clock and had to play like 11 hours later. But they showed up.
Yeah, we were at In-N-Out Burger at about 12:30, Doc, in Frisco, and we probably didn't get to bed till 1:30 or 2, and, we had scout that morning at like 10, so hopefully we got 7-8 hours of sleep. We have shoot around at 11, and, we're back playing women's, and, it's a hard team to prepare for in general, but when you're playing the number 1 team in the country with limited rest, on a quick turnaround back-to-back, it makes it difficult. But, it's hard, Doc, because we designed our team thinking with the depth that we thought we had, like we're going to be able to run people into the ground, because women's only plays, 6 or 7 players. So it's hey, our depth is going to wear on people in tournament time. Well, turned out that we didn't have a lot of depth down the stretch either with all the injuries. So ideally, we want to get back to hopefully playing 9, 10, 11 players. So, in tournament time, when you have to win Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and in the national tournament, you have to do that. Now, those teams that are playing their starters 37 minutes back-to-back-to-back nights, hopefully our starters are only playing 28 to 30, and now we're a little bit more fresh. And that's our game plan this year. Hopefully we can stay a little bit healthier next year, and that's kind of what we're looking at.
Well, Coach, congratulations. There aren't many coaches in the history of Eastern that can say they took teams to the NCAA tournament back-to-back years. You're one of them. So bask in the glory for a while and get ready for next year.
For sure. Thanks, Doc, and go Hounds.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our first interview segment, so we'll clear this out, and we'll bring in Davin Vo from Greyhound men's basketball right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and we welcome back to the set of SportsLook the head coach of Greyhound men's basketball, Davin Vo. And Coach, congratulations on a sensational year.
Thank you, Doc. A lot of hard work, but more importantly, we had a ton of support here in Port Dallas. In that conference tournament, I cannot tell you how grateful and how proud we were to see so much green and silver in the stands. And that's how it's been all year long. So I appreciate it.
I had a person that actually works for WT now that I'm really good friends with, and he looked at me and he said, Doc, when was the last time you ever saw a neutral court where there were more Eastern fans than WT fans? But that was clearly the case.
It definitely was. And it goes to our guys. Our guys have been so good this year. They played so well, and they've had so many wins that it makes it easy. It makes it easy for these fans to show up. But no matter what, my 5 years here, people have been showing up every single day, and we absolutely love it.
At the beginning of the season, the people that vote in the Lone Star Conference thought you were probably good enough to make the tournament, but you'd probably be like a 5 or a 6 seed. Definitely proved some people wrong.
We did. Loved that we finished so high. Also hate that we finished so high and didn't have anything to show for it. Would have been unbelievable to have a banner to show what we did this regular season. I mean, how many times do we win that many games, come one game short of being in first place, sweep WT and Lubbock Christian in the same year and don't have a loss, to those two rivals? Not sure when that happens, but I'm sure if you give it a few more weeks, I'll be a lot more positive about what we've done this season. But you're absolutely right. Magical season. Could not have done it without the type of players that we had and the type of characters we have in that locker room.
Interestingly, you lose the first game of the season where you shoot 50% from the free throw line, and if you'd made a couple more free throws, you would have won that game. And then you ran the table for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You can be honest with me. Did you expect that, or were you pleasantly surprised by how successful you were?
No, when we looked at our schedule, we thought we could go into the conference undefeated. And we felt that way. We felt very strong about it. Talking about being ranked preseason number 6, we're not going to tell our guys, oh, we're mad about it. But as a coaching staff, we're absolutely upset about it. We thought that was a big slight, not only to us as a staff and a program, but also to guys like Jose Murillo, second-team All-Conference last year. Maurice Austin, all-freshman team. Cooper Jackson, honorable mention and all-defensive team. Jose's all-defensive team. And Trayvon Bird, third-team All-Conference. And all those guys came back. And it just goes to show you people don't really believe in what we're doing here, or they don't want to support it. In any way they can try to, keep us down, they will. But that's why our conference is fun. That's why it's good. People are very competitive. And so, yes, we were not happy about where we were placed, but that didn't affect our day-to-day. That didn't motivate us more to win a game by more points or to work out harder. Our guys and our staff are wired to work hard and be the best we can be every single day, every single game. But going back to the season, yeah, losing against Fort Lewis was tough. We shot way too many threes. To open up, the season against a team that was that good, that played that differently stylistically, it opened our eyes really quick. But we found our identity quickly. The next game, we were able to beat New Mexico Highlands and then go on a 13-game winning streak. And really, we were undefeated in conference for about 4 or 5 games until we played St. Mary's. But yes, we expected it. We absolutely did. We had the best player in the conference, and we had a bunch of really good complementary players around them.
And a lot of people will forget that the 2 losses that you suffered in Lone Star Conference play in January, you were playing without Trayvon Bird.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. He had some things he had to go home for. He obviously was a big hole, but, a guy like Mika Tingerman, guys like Alex Alfaro were there to fill in those gaps off the bench. And it just goes to show you how deep our team is, how good they were working together. And we always talk about, not the next man up, but just responding to adversity and responding to the situation that's there and just making the best of it. And after losing those 2 games, I think we went on another 10, 11-game winning streak. Didn't lose a home game to the very last away game of the year. And so pretty incredible things we did this year. I totally forgot about the away games and what we did with that. But our guys enjoyed playing with each other, and I'm sorry I feel bad that it's over. But yeah, reflecting back, we had some good times.
There are many candidates that could be the potential answer to the question I'm going to ask you, but if you had to pick out one game during the regular season that was the most satisfying win, I've got one that comes to my mind, but I'd be interested to hear what you have to say.
Oh man, there are a lot. The most satisfying one would be our game against Lubbock Christian at Lubbock Christian. To win a road game against a top 5, possibly top 10 team that hadn't lost at home on the road for us, and for us to win in convincing fashion, not needing a heroic last second throw from Maurice Austin to Austin Abrams to Cooper Jackson to hit a very last second 3. So I would say the most memorable one, it's winning on the road. There's just something special about winning on the road. Our AD was there. Our president was there. Obviously, you were there. We had a lot of green and silver there. And we beat a team that we hadn't beat the last 3 times we played them last year. Yeah. And so that was very satisfying.
I would say another potential candidate was beating WT at WT, which doesn't happen very often either.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there are a lot of them there. DBU at home, that was pretty wild. That was a big-time game. That was later in the season. but we were up 12. That's not my favorite one because we were up by so many points, and we gave that lead up so quickly.
That's true.
But to have a memorable shot like the one Cooper Jackson hit, that's incredible. He's gonna remember that. Maurice is gonna remember that pass. Those guys are gonna remember that play for the rest of their lives, and the town remembered it. The town. I don't think we came down from that high for another day or two, and it was kind of tough to recover from that game just because it was such a big deal. But we turned around and we had to play UT Tyler, a very physical team, 2 days later. But yeah, a lot of memorable games. I'm in a little better mood now that you're highlighting these things that we did well. Because right now I'm dwelling on some bad things that we did in our last game.
Well, you get to the Lone Star Conference tournament. You get the 2 seed. You play the 7 seed, which is WT, and they had their scorer back. He had missed the game in Portales, but he was back for the WT game at WT, and he was there at the conference. And you guys convincingly beat the Buffs. Yeah,
there's a saying that it's really hard to beat a team 3 times. I thought the WT game was maybe our best game of the year. Our guys were just so stone cold in the mission and how we played. I don't think WT played great, but I just feel like we were so locked in what we needed to do that no matter what they threw at us, we weren't going to lose that one. Playing a future Hall of Fame coach like Coach Brown, playing a program like that, it's never easy preparing for that game because you just don't know. And Coach Tom Brown and WT had won 6 straight tournaments at one point. And so it's always a little uneasy going into that game. And, the very next game, our reward is Lubbock Christian, another future Hall of Fame coach, Todd Duncan. So in that game, Cooper Jackson just had a day. The rest of our guys played well. Austin Abrams had a really good game. Maurice Austin hit a bunch of shots. But Cooper Jackson scoring 37 or 35 points that day was unreal. And for us to score 101 points in a conference tournament game against a top 10 team again is pretty incredible.
No, you guys definitely we won our region. We beat WT this year. We beat Lubbock Christian. We beat Western New Mexico, who's vastly improved. I mean,
yes.
that was not just a walkover win for you guys. And then you get to play Dallas Baptist in the conference championship. You're down 4 late. You foul the right guy twice down the court. They miss front ends of 1-1, and you tie it up with about 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, Cooper Jackson again comes up big for us, comes up clutch, gets fouled going to the basket, I believe, with 5 or 4 seconds left. We're down 2, and he goes to the free throw line, and he makes both free throws. And we never batted an eye. We knew he's going to make it. Our prep was, hey, what are we going to do after they make it? And I feel like we defended everything well, and they just went down the court and got off a corner shot that was a tough one. And they kept us from hanging a banner and getting a ring, and that guy caught that ball, fumbled it, and put it up. But that's tournament basketball. Our team is built to play tournaments. Our team is really, really good, and we just have so much talent and so much unity that those tournaments are really built for us to do well. And for it to end that way is just kind of poetic justice for DBU. We beat them on a buzzer beater at home, and they kind of got us on the road. But they got a little better present for winning that game than we did.
Well, you get 2 guys that were all Lone Star Conference tournament. I think there could have been a third, but congratulations to Mo and congratulations to Cooper.
Yeah, they played really well. Maurice and Cooper not only probably led that tournament in steals, but Cooper probably scored more points than anybody did on every single one of those 8 teams. But we had to play well. We knew we were going to play well, and that led us, obviously, into the national tournament.
Well, Coach, you finished second in the Lone Star Conference this year. Let's hope that next year when we sit down at this time, we can talk about an LSC champion in the regular season and in the postseason.
Absolutely. Doc, thank you. Thank you for your support this entire year. Absolutely enjoy talking with you. And you're one of a kind. You're the best.
Well, and so are you, Coach. So thank you for the kind words.
Thank you.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up the interview segment of Sports Look, so we'll clear this out, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. We've been talking NCAA tournament basketball all evening here, so let's finish up in overtime with something about the NCAA tournament. Where and when was the first NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament held? Well, the correct answer is 1939, and where was in the Patton Gymnasium in Evanston, Illinois, where Northwestern University is located. The gym they played in was 30 years old, and the next year it got torn down, and Northwestern put up what they called the Tech Building, which had a large auditorium. And I can remember, because yes, I went to Northwestern University in the fall of 1970, sitting in the Tech Building in the auditorium and thinking that was probably right where the first final event had ever taken place in NCAA basketball. Well, that is going to wrap up in overtime, and that will wrap up an episode of Sports Look. I'd like to thank my guests, Blake Huber and Davin Voe. Ms. Jasmine, once again, is my floor director. So for all those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.